Hello class, welcome back. So now that we've done writing the register, the login, and the get users operations, we can actually start to work on the client app and implement a little bit of the UI and run these operations from there. I personally feel like it's more productive to keep switching between the server side and the client side because sometimes when you start to work on the client side app, you feel like you've done some mistakes on the back end and you need to change some stuff, and it takes longer to do that instead of just kind of finishing both at the same time. And it also feels more enjoyable because you're building the UI, you're wiring the buttons, everything is like working as the final product does, and it gives you this nice feedback. So yeah, I figured we should try this for the series and see how it goes. All right, so for this, then let's actually start to set up the React app. All right, let's go back to VS Code. Let's open the terminal. I'm gonna stop the development server, and here I'll create a directory. So make the client cd into it, and here let's do npx create react app and say dot, so that it actually scaffolds everything inside of this directory. So this will install all of the dependencies that React needs, and it will scaffold this Webpack configuration that compiles everything for us, and we don't need to do anything. We just need to write the React code itself, which is really cool. So while that installs, make sure to hit the like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. And of course, click that bell button so each time I ring, ding ding, you hear it. All right, I'll just let that install and I'll be back in a second. Wow, that actually took ages. I feel like I have some gray hair now. All right, let's go into the client directory. I'll close the terminal for now. And here, let's go to the source directory. I'm going to delete a couple of junk. I call it junk because I'm not going to use it, so it's junk to me. So let's delete the setup tests, the service worker, the logo SVG, the index CSS, and the app test.js. So delete all of these. Yes, move to recycle bin. And here in the app CSS, control A, delete everything. I'm not going to need those base styles. In the app.js, of course, remove the import to the logo because it doesn't exist anymore. And here, let's write a new markup. So here, for now, let's just say put a div with a header inside of it that says hello React. And inside the index.js, let's remove the index CSS import, doesn't exist anymore. The service worker, also remove the service worker call and save all files, and that should be fine. So let's go back to the terminal and run npm, make sure you're in the client directory, and run npm start, which will bundle everything and start a development server with this React app. I'm going to close this sidebar. Ooh, close. Okay. All right, so I'm just going to wait for it to compile. My PC is being slow for some reason, so yeah. All right, 3, 2, 1, come on. No, come on. Yes, there we go. Close enough. All right, so we get our hello React. First thing I want to set up is Bootstrap. So let's go to Google and type React Bootstrap. And we're going to install this, which is kind of like well, it's not kind of, it is actually a wrapper of Bootstrap in React. And it serves a couple of purposes that we will get to later. So let's just go to components, get started, or getting started. So we need to install the dependency itself and Bootstrap itself. So let's just copy this and go back to VS Code. I'm going to open a new terminal and cd into the client and paste that. I'm going to install something else called Node Sas, Node-Sas. And I'm doing that because, let's open the sidebar. Let's rename this app CSS to app SCSS because I want to use Sas instead. And I'll show you why I want to do that. Let's go back to our app. While that installs, I'm going to close the terminal. I'm gonna, actually no, I need to wait for React Bootstrap. Okay, I'll just wait. Patience is a virtue. All right, that took another eternity. Oh, like over 3,000 low severity vulnerabilities, man alive. All right, I'm just gonna run npm audit fix, let that take care of it. And so while we're here inside the app CSS, we need to import the Bootstrap Sas, and I'll show you why I'm importing the Sas instead. So we can get that from, let's go to node modules here, look for Bootstrap. Let me close this terminal. And Bootstrap SCSS, and it's here, Bootstrap SCSS. So we need to get that. So here let's do tilde bootstrap slash what was it, SCSS slash bootstrap, like that. All right, so that should take care of it. And the reason why I'm importing the Sas instead of the CSS, because this way we can actually customize it and make it look like our own app. So here I'm gonna start to import the React Bootstrap components. So I'll say import and destructure. I'm gonna get container, and while we're at it, I'm gonna get row and col for column as well, and say from React Bootstrap. So here, this outer div, let's control D and make this a container, so that it pushes everything into the middle. And I'm just gonna cut this for a second, and let's put a row. And ooh, why is Emmet not working? Just gonna do a row like that, and then put a column like this. And inside the column, I'm gonna put back the header one. And actually here, I'll just call it, the first page that I wanna work on is the register page. So let's call this register, just like so. So let's save and make sure that it's built without any errors. Close this one. All right, so there's a problem, cannot open. Okay, it's because I'm importing app CSS instead of SCSS. Save that, let it compile. Oh, okay, I know why this is happening. We need to install Node Sas because Webpack doesn't by default compile Sas. So actually we need to cd into the client and run npm install node-sas. All right, and now that that's done installing, actually let me close everything here. Ooh, just minimize everything, and that should easily, not easily or like seamlessly now bundle the Sas file. So actually let me just close this and run it again. So run npm start in the client. I'm gonna exit this, and this should compile now successfully. And it does. There we go. So we get register, and we get it pushed to the middle because of the container. And if you've used before Bootstrap without this wrapper, container basically is just a div with a class container, like you usually do with Bootstrap pure CSS. So so that's created. So what we need to do now, let's actually put the register form. So if you remember from our schema, if we go back to our server code, so here in the type definitions, we need these 4 fields in our form. So username, email, password, and a repeat password or confirm password. So here underneath this header one, I'm gonna actually we need to import the form. And actually, by the way, everything is in the documentation. So if I just search in the documentation for forms, you get this right here, and this is an example form. These are the I think these are identical to the examples that are on getbootstrap.com, but of course these are with the React Bootstrap wrapper. So we need to import these. Actually, I'm just gonna cut all of this just to save some time and paste everything actually under this header. Let's paste everything. I'm gonna remove these 2 form groups. Keep this first one, and this I'm gonna remove this control ID. So this form label, email address, that's fine. Type email, placeholder. Gonna remove a placeholder for now. And form text, I don't know what this is. I think this is like a hint underneath it. Yeah, it's this. I'm just gonna remove this. We don't need it. And button, I'm just gonna change this into success instead of like primary. And this will say register instead of like submit. And of course we need to import form and button, the elements from React Bootstrap. So let's say form and button and save that, and that should run. And it does. Okay, let's go back to our app. All right, so we get another, oh no, actually that was from last time. All right, cool. So we get email address, and we get this submit button. Of course, it doesn't do anything yet. Let's just add all the other fields for now. So I'm gonna copy this entire form group, paste it 3 more times, So the second one will be the username. So let's call this username like that. And this will be of type text. And this will be the password. And it will be of type password. I'm just going to copy the password and paste it here. Both will be of type password. And this will be confirm password, just like so. Let's save. All right, so we get our fields, and I want to actually center this register button in the middle. So I could just wrap it with it. So cut it and wrap it with so do dot text dash center, hit tab, and this should do the trick. All right, or didn't. Okay. Well, actually, no, we need to be, oh, my bad, text. I meant to type text center. I said text center, but I typed text. That's interesting. All right, I want to give this page some styling. So let me actually grab this gradient from my other screen. There should be a link, there will be a link in the description for this gradient that I want to use for the background of the site. So let's go to the app CSS, and here I want to style the body element. So do body, open curly braces, and I'll paste this. Again, it's in the description. This is basically just a gradient, and it has an angle of 203 degrees. So it's kind of like tilted, like diagonal, and has these like really bright colors. And oh, that looks horrible. Why is that? Oh yeah, okay, my bad. So I forgot that the body actually will stop at the end of this, and then it starts repeating. So a solution can simply say, give this the body a minimum height of 100 view height, and that should fix it. And there we go. So the gradient now goes from top to bottom. Let's make this like form inside a card. So we can import card from Bootstrap, React Bootstrap, and wrap everything here in a card. So do that, and then cut this closing tag, and under the, oh no, actually no, under the form, paste it, and yeah, the column, yeah. Okay, forget these borders. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna use, we don't need all the styling from the card. So what we can do, because the card has like some other like elements that need to be inside of it. So I'm just gonna, so this row here, I'm gonna give it some like classes. So say class name equals, and I'm gonna give it BG white to give it like white background, and that should do the trick exactly like a card. Okay, there we go. So we get background white. Let's give it some padding because everything is kind of like to the edges of it. So here inside of the class name, let's say P5 to give it padding of like I think like 4 rem or 3 rem. Yeah, it's 3 rem. Actually, let's just give the padding on the top and bottom, because when we go to the small screens, we don't want that padding to persist. Okay, so we can change this into PY5. There we go. And I want to center this text, so this register right here, let's give it a class name of text center, and that does it. Cool. Let's make this form kind of like a bit in the middle, and not like these massive like 100% wide inputs. So I'm gonna wrap, do I wrap stuff? Yeah, actually I'm gonna give a class to this column. So say XS let's say 4, or actually no, we need to give it like different values. I'm not gonna actually do this real time. Let me look at the code. All right, here I'm just gonna copy it. So I'll explain in a second what this does. So now this is the equivalent in pure regular Bootstrap CSS. You will say call SM8, and then you'll give call MD6 and so on. And what this will do is, if you're not familiar with Bootstrap, on large screens, it will be a 30% of the width, or is it 30? 4 times, yeah, 33% of the width, a third. And then on medium screens, it's going to be a half. And then on like small screens, it's going to be almost full width. So to see that in action, actually, we need to center this in the middle. So here for our row, by default, rows are of display flex. So we can just add the justify content center class, and that would center everything. And there we go. So now if we go to a small screen, cool. So to a medium screen, actually no, this is large still. This is medium. And now in small screens, it takes like full width. All right. Okay, yeah, okay. I confused myself. Here it's like 50% and here it's a third. All right, so that's working as intended. Let's give the body or the container some padding on the top so that this is a bit centered. So here in the container, I'm gonna add a class name of padding top 5, and that does the trick. All right, let's customize this a little bit because this looks a bit too bootstrappy. So I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but I'm just going to show you why I use this Sas. So I'm going to go to facebook.com and I'm going to steal some colors. So I'm going to use this extension, Chrome extension called Colorzilla, and click on it and sample the code. Sample this color, and let's go back here. And by the way, if you don't have the extension, you can literally just type the hex code as I type it here. This is important. You need to do this before you import Bootstrap. And so here we'll say blue and then paste that hex code. And here let's sample the other one, the green. So here we'll sample this. Actually, don't change color. It's changing because I hovered. All right, it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. So here I'll paste this green color. And if we go to Bootstrap, so inside of the node modules, oh, I already searched for Bootstrap. So it's here. Inside of this SCSS, go to Bootstrap. Oh no, sorry, go to, should be in variables. So here, variables. As you see here, there are like a bunch of variables that come with Bootstrap, and they all have this like default thingy, meaning that this is like a default value. And if you change the actual value before you import it, these change. And if you scroll here, you see there is these colors. And these colors are the colors that signify the primary, the secondary, and the success, and so on. So now I just changed the primary basically and the success. So let's save that. And one thing that I want to change as well, even though they don't have it actually here in Facebook, I'm gonna make everything like have sharp edges. So to do that, let's go back to variable. There should be something with border radius. Yeah, so here I'm just gonna change this border radius. Instead of like a 0.25 rem, I'm just gonna give it 0. So here we can say border radius 0. Save that, let it compile, and there we go. So we get like these square input fields, which like kind of synergize with this square card and these square buttons. So this is basically just, I'm giving you like a taste of how you can customize like Bootstrap, and you yourself can do some more like things and like customize it. And actually let me know in the comment section what you changed. I'm actually interested into what you can do to make Bootstrap like not look like Bootstrap. All right, so one thing that we can start to do with this form, so let's go back to the app.js. We can start to get like the data from the fields themselves. So here in this form tag, opening tag, let's give it an onSubmit event. So onSubmit, and let's call this submit register form. And here let's, inside the app, let's create the submit register form, and this will take an event because it's a submit event. And here of course we're going to say event.prevent default, because by default it's going to refresh the page and add those fields to the URL. We don't want that to happen. And after that, actually we need to capture the values of these fields. So here inside of this form control for the email, and for all of them we need to give them like a value attribute or property. So here I'll say value equals, and we need to create, actually let's go up here. So here next to React, let's import as well in between curly braces get use state, so we can actually have some local state here and store all those variables before we send them. And here we'll say const and array destructure, something called, we'll call it variables, and I'll explain later why I'm doing it this way. So here the setter will be set variables. By the way, if you don't know what I'm doing here with like the use state and everything, I have like a series on how to use React hooks, and if you know what you're doing, then cool. I'm not going to go too much into details into the hooks themselves. So here we'll say use state, and the default value will be an object, and it will have all these 4 values. So we'll start with email, and that will start as an empty string and do comma, and then repeat 3 times. So this will be, what is the second one? Username, yes, and password, and confirm password. All right, so for the email, the value will be variables.email. And once this field changes, we need to change the email value inside of here. So here we'll say an on change, open curly braces, and this will give us an event. And what we need to do with it is we need to set the email. So we need to say set variables. And here we have to be careful, because if we give any value here, it's going to override the entire object. So we just need to change this. So we need to preserve the rest. So here we can say set variables, start an object, and do the spread operator and pass it variables. And then we need to override the email and give it the event.target.value of this input. And that should do it. So let's save that. And to save time, I'm gonna copy this value and on change and paste it into this, into the second one, the username. And here select email and Control D and write username, and that should do that. And then paste it into the password. Click on here and Control D and change both of these to password. And here in confirm password again, paste it. Click on this and Control D and change this to confirm password. All right, so now these should actually edit the state, and we'll have everything. Oh, what did I do? Okay, we'll have everything inside of here. So here, when we submit the form, I'm just gonna say console log, and I'm gonna console log the variables. All right, let's save that. Actually, I'm gonna remove this card import because it's not needed anymore. Let's save, and let's go back to the browser. And now let's open the console. And here I'll just type, I don't know, just some gibberish everywhere just to test that it's working. Hit register. Oh, we get like HTML5 email validation. So let's just put like a valid email. So john@email.com. Hit enter. And there we go. We get our values. And by the way, you can also inspect using the, oh, why is it here? You can inspect using the React DevTools. Okay, now it's fine. So you can install the 2 extensions actually I'm using here. Why are they going? That's crazy. My computer is going bananas. All right, we could go to more tools, extensions. We can use the React DevTools. If you don't have it yet, I suggest you install it. It's super, super useful when debugging React apps. And I also have the Apollo client DevTools, but we're not going to interact too much with that. So let's go back to the app. So you can select on the app component, and you'll see we have in our state, we have this object, and it's exactly what we have, our variables. That's actually what we need to do now. Let's refactor everything into a register page, because this is not right. This is the app.js. Not a lot of code should be here. This should be just an entry point. So let's cut this entire row down to here, cut it, and let's go open the file explorer. Inside the client source, I'm going to create a new folder, call it pages, and inside of it I'll create a new file, call it register.js, and do rfc and hit tab. And if that didn't work, then you don't probably have this. You should install this extension, ES7 React Redux, whatever. It's pretty cool, has some nice snippets. And inside of here, I'm just gonna paste what we copied, and of course we need to bring all of the related React Bootstrap imports. So I'm gonna copy all of that, paste it into the register, and let's go back to the app. Ooh. I'm gonna remove the row, column, and all the rest. Just keep the container because that's what we're using here. I'm gonna copy all of this because this pertains to the register page, or cut it rather, and then paste it here. And what else? Okay, I'll remove the container import, and we can just import now the register page. So let's do import register from the same directory, pages/register, like this, and just type inside of here, oops, register, and close the tag just like so. We don't need useState here, but we do need it in the register page. So here let's import useState, and everything should work the same. So save all files. Now I know like some of you might be confusing, oh, what are we doing, why are we just putting the register here? But do not worry, we will get going with the React router and make this into a route and browse onto it inside of the browser. But for now, let's just keep the setup like this. So if we go back, it works the same. And if we put like some, let me put some email again, so just some gibberish, who cares? All right, and everything works the same. Okay, so we've set up like React, we've set up React Bootstrap. In the next video, we're gonna start to set up the Apollo client and actually connect to our backend and make this register form interact with our database and do in fact register users. All right, so make sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons, and until next time, cheers.